fun. Yeah.
Everyone wants to know how audio works. You know what I mean? It's like a universal thing.
I know it's the most important part of any project.
We should have waited to say that.
I'll say it again. I have no
thank you.
problem.
Yeah. We'll double down on that.
Uh-huh.
Hey, I hope the Twitch chat and whatnot is working.
Yeah, I'm watching.
See.
Okay, the channel should be live.
Ooh,
Awesome.
how exciting.
Oh, that's funny. When I hover this, it partially eats Billy's face.
I must see the chat.
I'll try not to do that.
I must see the chat.
But first, I'm going to go over to our own Twitch stream. Nera.
Chat. Theater mode? No.
It looks like we're live.
Oh, Wave, hello.
It looks like we're live.
Oh,
Yep.
got a Wave. Hello. We are live.
Yep.
This is it. This is content.
Hey.
Oh wait, did someone just hit the follow button? Is that what that wave was?
I think so.
I'm glad that's working.
Come on.
Okay.
Nice.
Let's see. Is Twitch chat working? Can you guys type something in the channel? We can see if it pops up in the corner. Oh, thank you, Nera, for. Yes. Okay, it is in fact popping. Okay, I'm gonna move that on the screen, so hopefully it's a little readable. In the top left, it's gonna be burned into our video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Excellent. Okay. Cool.
Welcome. Gather.
Yeah.
Hi, it's the Danger.
Hello.
I have to be careful of alt tabbing. That's going to get super annoying for people if that just pops up in the middle of my screen. Just being a streamer seems so effing hard.
I know. I should have got my stream deck out so I could be.
Yeah, I know. It's
double
just
digital hands.
Whole broadcast setup.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Get those transitions just right.
I know. Although I will say some of the streams, I really like the organic jank of seeing them resizing in real time. It feels very visceral.
It does, yeah.
So human.
Yeah.
So human. Such
it's like
human
you're in the
design.
room with them.
Okay. Let's give folks just a hot minute to filter in.
Yeah.
I like to imagine that the other Discord channel, like directly above us where they're working, they're actually just watching the stream and commenting. I like to imagine that.
Yeah, I do too.
We're doing good. Hey, if you are watching this, get back to work, okay? Hi, it's the Danger. I am doing great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing great. We're just getting our next phase of work done. Making some cool sounds, doing some cool designing.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. Yep.
I'm a little sick. I'm not gonna lie. My voice is weird right now.
Yeah, I know.
But hey, I'm gonna do a lot less talking than typical. And I've got my tea. I've got my tactical mute button in case I cough.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Steph, for voice shaming me.
Wow. Kick him
on record, no less. My God. Sit up straight, so I'm appropriately.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Who's joined us so far?
Let's jump in. We're already 5 past the hour, and I know there's a lot of cool stuff to share. But first, let's do some re-introing. I'm Michael. I'm the CEO for Treehouse. You guys have seen me a whole bunch, and we have 2 brand new teammates with us, Ben and Billy. We're very excited to have you guys talk about some of the sides of games that I feel like everyone experiences and knows, and it's like very deeply personal for a lot of people, like the music and audio in a game. But you don't always get to see how they're made or like what the thought process is or the actual mechanical way it's made. So we thought this would just be a fun topic, especially because we've been getting a lot of really positive feedback since our last 2 playtests when we've got a lot more music and sound effects in. So it was really awesome to hear that first and foremost. But before anything else, Ben, Billy, why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Billy, why don't you go first? You're on the left.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Billy. Work with Hitbox Sounds with Ben, and also Andrew. And we do audio and sound and implementation and design, as well as music. And I'm a sound designer and composer, and I think that's all for now.
Quadruple threat.
Where are you
Dancer.
located? What kind of games do you like?
Oh, yes, yes. So I am located in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I really love survival crafting games. I also really love first-person RPGs. Um, really, it's just Fallout New Vegas. It just holds a special place in my heart. Um, but yeah, been playing a lot of Subnautica lately, a lot of Power World. Um, let's see what else. TCG card game simulator, for just when you just want to kick back and run a card store. So, but yeah,
Awesome.
Nice to meet you, Billy.
nice to meet you, Ben.
Hi, it's me. I'm Ben. I am here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a sound designer, composer, designer, games type person. That's my full title.
See,
I really love survival crafting games. I think the first probably was Valheim, which is not too long ago. But then after that, I think I hit Subnautica, and then after that, it was Don't Starve, and then after that, it was like Green Hell, and then just sort of tumbled into this desire to chase after deer with a pointed stick.
Wait. Your intro into this was Valheim?
I don't think I played one before that.
Oh
I really don't.
my god, you are eating so good.
Just my life.
We've had a lot of years of really like scraping through for like the occasional good one.
I think it was The Forest too, right after that.
You get to just go through all the greatest hits. Oh my god.
No problem. Like
it did get good. It did get better after Valheim. That's true.
I mean, yes, like Valheim really kicked off a whole new wave of, I guess, now our competitors. So that's like a little bit of a mixed bag. But from a player side,
peers.
it's awesome.
Our peers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, like we were saying earlier, for any folks who just joined, like we've been getting a lot of really positive feedback about the audio. I think our main complaint on the audio has just been like, yo, why doesn't the music play continuously? But a lot of really positive stuff at a lot of our sound effects and music that's come in, a lot of which I know Ben and Billy have been like, yo, this is early, just FYI. And this seemed like a really fun topic to jump into. One, because it is sort of like a big part of our recent playtests, but also because it is something we all instantly feel and get when we're playing games. And it's kind of a little bit of a black magic how it's actually like made. So we thought this would be a fun topic for y'all. And if it's cool, then if this is exciting to folks, then like love to talk about it more, share more content, share more stuff and like sneak peeks of the week and whatnot. And just let us know. But yeah, Ben, Billy, I know you guys have like a whole board you guys want to go through, and I will ask appropriately planted questions as we go.
Oh my gosh, you're a plant? Got this figured out. If write questions in the chat if you guys have any as we're going through. I will try to see Billy, Michael, if you guys see any too.
Yes, I will try.
Flag me down.
Yeah, we'll try to answer as many as possible. And then we'll do an official Q&A here at the end, I think. Right, Michael?
I'm good. Don't worry about me. Yeah. I'm just going to be coughing throughout.
Okay, cool. Nice. Cool.
Welcome, everyone. Look at my effects. Audio time. It's the most important part of any project. Everyone knows this. We all agree. We're going to be talking today about the audio that we've been doing with Treehouse for Voyagers of Nera. It's going to be mostly focused on the sound effects side of things. I think we might touch on music a little bit here or there, but our main focus is going to be here on the sound FX. All right, I'm moving over. I'm driving this. First things first, we love you. You're the best. Thank you. Everybody, there's been, like as Michael said, there's been so much positive feedback, constructive criticism, also appreciated.
Yeah.
So thanks to everybody on both sides who wants the game to get better, who wants the game to sound better, who is loving the direction things are going. It's been so fulfilling to see people experiencing the sound. It's been great. I love you guys. What, you don't like this GIF? I won't. Yeah. We put this in here. It was very unsettling. Freddie
Yeah,
Mercury
we
with this banana
revisited this
hat.
today. We were just like,
We kept it in. Okay. So let us dive into the work we do here with Treehouse. Boop, boop, boop.
yeah.
All right.
So basically, we wanted to kind of go over like who we are, which we did in the beginning a little bit, which is like, I'm Billy, that's Ben.
Hey.
We are part of a company called Hitbox Sounds that, has partnered with Treehouse to work on Voyagers of Nera. And I think, we end up doing a lot of fun audio work, but we also do, in addition to sound effects and music and all that, we do game design, world building. We've been a big part of the world building team, in sort of determining, the vibe of Nera and all
Mhm.
the lore behind it, and then as Ben has added just now, presentations, I guess.
Yeah, we're
Um,
professional presenters,
yes, we are.
streamers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. All getting to touch a lot of different stuff is so fun and so creatively satisfying. So 2 thumbs up for work balance.
Yeah, yeah, and we're having an absolute blast.
Mm-hmm.
The team is awesome, and we're having fun.
Will sounds be streamer friendly? A good question. We did a volume check before. Nothing should be too loud, and nothing should be scary in any way.
Oh, I think they might mean for someone to stream playing the game.
Yes.
I think should
Yes.
be
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we try. We make sure that we secured all the
Yeah.
dotted our I's, crossed our T's on all the things that are going to the game. And I think the biggest question there is music, and all of the music is made in house and is owned by the studio. So
Every one of
um,
our songs is a different Beatles song, and I think
that's
that
true.
should be fine.
Yeah, we've taken all '80s song titles and made them into lyrics.
I'm trying to drive this presentation like a Star Wars
Oh, this
crawl here.
won't make us nauseous at all.
All right. I'm sorry. So first question, let's say we start on this project. We're gathering all the intel. The first thing we wanted to answer was, what does Nera sound like? That is sort of our overarching creative goal. So talking to the team, we kind of decided that we wanted things to be naturalistic, simple, sort of true to life where they could be. Ancient. This is a world that has a lot of history. This is a world that existed long before our player characters ever got here. And we wanted to make sure that, this didn't feel like a facade. There was depth to things. We wanted things to also feel magical. So sort of in opposition to naturalistic, you've got this sort of more true to life, but also a little more surreal. So we often have to kind of balance this as to where do we want to end up here. We wanted things to also feel mysterious. This world has a lot going on to it, more than you kind of get at the surface. We're excited hopefully as the game opens up to more of these things can be presented. But we always wanted to kind of keep questions for the player, that there's more to it than maybe what they hear. And lastly, the ancients may be dead, but this world is not. This should feel like a living place. We wanted, birds in the air, insects in the grass. It's a real space that has more to it than just the one story. There's a lot of other stories maybe that go on. So we wanted to kind of try and give that depth there. It's a vast living world ocean full of ancient ruins, sea caves, boundless beaches, threats, and mystery. If you haven't seen any of the concept art by our lovely concept artist, Mitch Miller, these were a huge inspiration just to try and capture the majesty, the vibrancy of all that's going on here. As a sound designer, these images are so exciting because, we've got, we're in an environment here, right? There's these pillars next to your player characters. What do these sound like? This is sort of a glowing, a hum, an ancient energy here. We've got a maybe a waypoint in the distance. Can you hear this? Is it calling to you from across the ocean? Speaking of the ocean, you appear on this spot. Are the waves kind of echoing against this cliffside? And can you hear the sort of wind howling through the eyes of this old ancient corpse? This is so exciting. So we always kind of start here at this place. Nera is a character, just like your player character is a character. I think it's really finding your place in this world.
Yeah, I think that really helps for the immersion too. It's like as we sort of, you know, start to decorate and add audio to other parts of the game, more like specific points or interactions or things like that. This always serves as a like almost like a north star for us to know like, hey, this feels good in this world, rather than trying to audition sounds for particular uses in a world that is stark.
Right.
And so I think it just really feels good to get like, almost like the base coat down of like Ben said, the character of the world, this thing that we're going to just spend lots of time hearing, lots of time playing in, and make sure that that feels really nice.
I think we had talked about basically the concept of when players jump into this world, they're not playing as a character. You're not playing as like a Link or something. You're playing as you. We want you to sort of you to inhabit this and for this to feel like yourself. And so we wanted to kind of keep the character sounds maybe more minimal. So you're not like establishing an identity for this. You get to fill that yourself. But really let the environment of Nera drive the experience and pull you into new places to make you want to explore.
Yeah. There's the curious uncertainty about it. It's great.
So, how do we bring Nera to life? We have our goal, right? First, as we just talked about, it all starts with the environments. And the main environmental aspect of this water world is the ocean. So we want to make sure that our oceans would feel really vast and really inviting. We didn't want them to be these sort of like smashing, gray, sinister, cold waves. We wanted them to feel like when you logged into the game, peaceful. Finally, you worked or you're at school, you get down, you load up the game, you can hear the water kind of lapping against the waves, and you're like, finally, I get to come back to Nera. Fun fact, the ocean sounds you hear in this game are combined sounds from where Billy lives out in San Francisco, California, and where I grew up here on Peaks Island, Maine. So both of these sounds make up the ocean sounds that you hear. Only the best for you guys, okay? Only the best. I actually wanted to, let's do this one. Speaking of environment, ambiences. So an ambient in an audio sense is basically like the 2D sound that you hear specifically in a space. It's typically the sort of sum of all the different things, the air, the wind, sometimes the bugs, sometimes the crowds of people, sometimes the subway trains, whatever.
The flora,
Exactly. We wanted to make sure so that this place could feel alive, right? It's a place that actually has its own stories going on. We wanted to make sure the ambience is changed as the day changes. So you hear, a certain set of crickets at night that you don't hear at noon. You hear a certain set of birds at night that you don't hear at noon. The wind picks up between certain times of day. All that, it can be subtle at times, but even though you consciously don't notice it, I really feel that your subconscious brain, which is always listening, hears these small increases, hears these little changes, and helps kind of like situate you in the certain time, the certain place, wherever you are.
Yeah. I think life, touching on what Ben's saying, life is like full of dynamism, obviously, and the way you're hearing things and things are constantly changing. And it's like, we wanted to bring some of that, within the constraints of of a game, to really like immerse you in this world and make you feel like you are out here. There's not a lot, or if anybody besides you and your friends that are out here in this world. But the world is still changing around you. I think that was an important thing for us to kind of include in.
I wanted to quickly pull up a little behind the scenes here, technical aspect. This is the Unreal Engine editor, and this is some of the work that we do when we're setting up environments. So the environment level design team, along with concept and really whoever else is sort of involved, will get a sketch out and then start modeling this. And then once they get to a certain point where everything feels final, feels ready to go, we get to come in. This is another great. This is like one of my favorite things to do is the environment stuff.
Yep.
You get to come in and sort of find every nook and cranny. I'll try and get this volume off so it's not blocking your view. Find every waterfall, right? Every cave, every coastline, every group, or birds. Are there? Is there a pack of seagulls who lives up on this cliffside? You get to kind of tell your own stories and sort of populate this through your imagination. So just working on the Embrace the First biome here was so much fun. And just from the technical side, basically what we do to establish where does like a grassland end and a beach begin? Because we have different sounds for crickets in the grass versus seabirds on the beach versus being out in the open ocean here. Our method is to set up these volumes. As you can see, it's in the yellow here. And basically, I'll try to zoom out. This yellow area sort of defines the whole area that is qualified as the grassland. And so when a player is walking through this grassland, we trigger that ambience to play in their headphones. So the whole time moving through here, you'll hear it. And what's cool about this too is as I leave this yellow zone, the player kind of walks out of this. It's directional. So you'll hear the grassland behind you or to your left as you walk out of this. So you can kind of feel it approaching and then feel it leaving you. It's pretty fun. Very fun to do this and dial out. It does take a little bit of time. I can show you this is so when you're making one of these volumes, basically go step by step, setting your points, defining an area, pulling it together. It's very fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of great things that you can sort of tell, story-wise here. And I think that was also a really like interesting thing consideration-wise for us is like the because you're not just in a sort of linear level, you're in an open world. We really
Yeah.
wanted the environments to change as you move through them, where it's like, you've got ocean, you've got forest, you've got, caves, you've got all these things that you could happen upon. So when we were designing the system, we really had to consider all of that and understand like, okay, at any point you can go in any direction and hit potentially a different set of sounds. And that was something that we really tried to make sure we nailed.
You have to start from a coverage perspective, and coverage just in an audio sense basically means like everything has a sound. Everything does something. Because per your point, Billy, exactly, is if you're making like a linear game, you can sort of guarantee that players will be in a certain space, they're moving through the hallway, they're heading up to the library, things like that. But in an open world game, like, even though we may have a direction that players, we hope that they go in, there's no rule or no wall that tells them that they must go that way. Yeah. So if someone starts the game and says, well, I'm very interested in just heading out here, we need to make sure that their audio is correct, that they're hearing the ocean, that the island that they go to has exactly what it needs to so that they can continue that sense of immersion. Because as we all know, audio is the most important thing in any project. We all agreed on that.
Just checking in on that.
As soon as it gets out of whack, your brain immediately picks it up and something feels off.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, that's a quick look at environments and sort of like the initial base code that we talked about that we felt like was so important. It's really trying to get that down. The other thing that in addition to environments that you hear constantly is, the way you move around the game, around the level, the way your character moves around, the way your character, traverses on other, vehicles to move around. And so it's like, that's something that you're always going to encounter. And so that's another place that we try to start is like a place that you're going to constantly hear and make sure that that feels good. Because the last thing you want to do is provide a sound that like people, feels like it's like and kind of hurts or something your ears and you have to listen to it over and over and over again as things traverse.
We've always said that really good sound design uh, you shouldn't notice it
Yeah, it's a
because
compliment.
yeah, it is. If someone's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
wasn't even paying attention to the audio because it felt so natural to what
yeah,
people were seeing." I think humans, or most people, I'll say, are sort of visual first, and
hmm
the audio tends to confirm what you see. So if you're just playing the game and you never notice a sound, I think that is just saying that we are fully supporting what you're seeing. Nothing feels out of whack. So that's always what we're going for.
Mm.
yeah,
You,
100%.
you're sort of describing movement in particular as like audio is the source of feedback to
Yeah.
the player.
Yeah, yeah. I think for the most part, it's you know uh, similar to environment where instead of you hearing broader spaces, you're hearing your particular character's impact on that space, and
Let's see.
so it holds the same amount of dynamism that the environments do, but it's something where you hear it a lot more often, and you can't necessarily get away from
Yeah.
it.
I see we have a question. I'm curious here. It
Oh
says,
yeah,
"Do
yeah,
the day cycle ambient sounds take priority over what type of environment you are in?" Great question.
yeah.
Um,
It's a really good point.
yes, I would say that is true. Essentially, when we build our environments, we have a palette per time of day. So we have a
Yeah.
grassland day, grassland night, grassland afternoon. I
hmm
even think certain biomes have dawn and sunset, basically palettes. And as the time of day changes, we will adjust volumes, we'll swap out sounds, and kind of blend between these, so that no matter where you are, no matter when you are, you'll always get the kind of the what we're trying for you to feel in that moment.
Yeah.
So yes,
You
they do
always
take
get
priority.
the sense of the environment that you're in,
Hmm.
but you'll maybe get the characteristic of like the time of day within that environment. So like,
Yes.
I think that thing Ben and I have done is like, you start to during the day, you're hearing birds, you're hearing, a little more wind, and then at night, the wind comes down, the
Hmm.
insects come up and it's but you're still hearing the grasslands or you're still hearing the cave in general. So it's
Yeah.
supplemental thing.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, as you're designing, you can do things like this to kind of set yourself the time of day. Because again, now I know what I'm trying to color. I know
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get people to feel. Where do my priorities lie, right? Get this huge sun, this sort of we're really dialing up like the romance, and I feel the kind of loneliness of this space. Right? This is sort of a deserted world that full of the bodies of creatures that once were. Um, and I think we always wanted to kind of, even though there is a lot of beauty here, there's a lot of longing and a lot of maybe
Mhm.
what could have been or what was. So we're
Yeah.
always looking for places to add a little bit of melodrama, a little bit of bittersweet.
Yeah. So, I think, yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for the question.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think all about, footsteps is like, there are sort of main bread and butter of movement, and it's something we wanna kinda just touch on as we go through our,
I want to make this
um,
red because
sort
I
of
think it's so true.
yeah, it really is. It really is. It's like the least like sexiest sound to work on,
Speak for
but I think
yourself.
it's but
I
I
think
think
they're
it's
great.
they're amazing. But I think it is absolutely something that like you can put actually add so much character into
Hmm.
them as you go through it, and once you get it right, it's so satisfying.
Yeah.
And so I think uh so I think kind of we wanted to take you through just a little bit of you know um kind of our process for this
Hmm.
and one thing that I wanted to share is like a fun story where um you know the character that you have to infuse into these footsteps, right? It's like sometimes you can get them with like sounds that already exist, and but sometimes there's that certain color that like you just can't achieve.
Hmm.
And we actually ran into that with the wood footsteps, where we had a great footstep sound, like at core, but we were missing just like some of that like wooden resonance, in the
Let me
sound.
pause you, Billy, and I'll get
Yeah,
it
yeah,
set up on the Wise side.
yeah,
So
sure,
this is Wise. This is our audio engine we use for the game.
yeah,
Billy is talking about this footstep in particular right here.
yeah,
It's a combination of a couple different sounds. So I will start with where we were originally with the bass here, and let me know if you guys can hear this. I don't think this should be too loud, so we'll check this guy out here. Right? Simple, does the job.
Can hear it.
Yep.
Can chat hear it through the stream?
You guys hear?
Yay!
Awesome.
Dope. Okay.
Awesome. But yeah, it's a very nice like core sound. It feels good. Um, but there's just like something where we weren't quite getting some of like the hollow resonance of walking through wood that is older, or
Mm.
it's ancient, but in its own way like has a lot of character.
Yeah,
And
or like
so
a wooden dock or something.
yeah, right. Like something that would feel a little bit more, like not malleable, but just flexible in its
Yeah.
walking. So ended up going to Home Depot, if Home Depot isn't sponsoring this, a home improvement store, and uh, and basically went around, and like they probably thought I was like an absolute madman. I'm like going around like tapping on things and like hearing like pieces of wood and like trying to figure out like exactly like what is the sound I'm looking for, and I ended up with this right here, which is this pressure treated lumber 2x4, and it just has this like great hollow wooden sound. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, can hear it.
And it's just got this like great little thing to it that I felt like was the missing ingredient in these wooden footsteps. And so when
Oh,
Ben and
neat.
I like came back and looked at it, we were just like, "Oh yeah, this is it." So I think now Ben can kind of play the before and after, and we can hear how it works.
Only a sound designer would have a Stratocaster and a and a 2x4
And a
in
two
the
by four in
same
the
room.
same room. Yeah, exactly. Actually, play one with the other.
So here's the recorded version here. Sounds familiar. That's our friend, Home Depot.
Yep.
And so when you mix this in, remember originally we were sort of flat, maybe like a ballroom or something. When you mix it in, to me, you can kind of hear now it's not whatever you're walking on is not quite so sturdy. Might be
Yeah.
a little older, a little more
Mm-hmm.
hollow, a little bit
Yeah.
of a
Yeah.
right. This is the thing that as a sound designer you have to work against is that every single person is a sound expert. Each of you guys has been listening to sounds
That's so true. Yeah.
every second of your life. You are all footstep pros. You can tell what material things are. You know what linoleum sounds like
Mm-hmm.
versus steel versus iron versus how thick something is.
Yep.
And so basically our job is to convince you that we've got it right.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh,
So
sounds like a boardwalk. Nexus says that is a high
yeah,
compliment.
good.
Exactly. Precisely.
Yep. And that's
Precisely.
what we're looking for. There's a lot of docks. There's a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
planks and sort of nautical wooden structures that I think you'd expect to hear a certain resonance from those. And I think that was just something that we were really happy with the way those came out. And although it's like their footsteps, they're not like the big spirit awakening sound. It's just like when you get that right, it just feels so good. And
Yeah.
and it's something where you hear it over and over and over and again in the game, and it's just like, yeah, it's great.
You know exactly the resonant wood sound Lunaria that we're talking about.
Yep. Yep.
We had another one.
Um,
Was the stone footsteps, right?
oh yeah, yeah. And then yeah, same for this one. Like we had like a really kind of like distant reverby sound. That felt good for like the slapping, but I actually went down to the beach and got um a beach rock. And so this essentially becomes the
Mm-hmm.
stone walking across this, because a lot of stone sounds, they have that like concrete rough broken up kind of sound to
Yeah.
them, and it's like a lot of these rocks like the wood are like nautical sort of like smooth beach stone
Mm-hmm.
slappy kind of rocks, and so again it was like we had to sort of make our own way on that, and it was a lot of fun.
This was a sound that I grew up near the coast, And just as a kid running on the beach barefoot across like the big rocks near the beach, this is a sound that I was like, we must get this right, because this is like so burned into my memory that we have to have just the right sort of like barefoot slap rock sound.
Yep.
So yeah, I was excited when Billy found that rock. It was just slapping a rock, sending me sounds. It was great.
So yeah, there's so again, it's like those things feel like, yeah, that's cool, but when you just get that extra little bit of zhuzh in there, you're feeling good about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I think
so
it's the details that sort of, I think, bring players in.
yeah,
When you get those things right.
that character,
Mm-hmm.
and it, because of that, doesn't sound like anything else out there. So
that's true. No one else is going to have that particular board.
Yep.
You were saying earlier about how when a sound is good, it sort of fades into the background, but like everyone's a sound expert. So when it's off, it's like really instantly noticeable.
You won't notice when it's right, but you will notice when it's wrong.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, right here we've got just some like screen caps of like the recording process. We went through, ended up doing this session in a program called Pro Tools, which is a pretty common audio program for recording. And we went through, recorded a bunch of stuff, and then basically went in and layered all of the individual footsteps and process them. And this is a picture of all the footsteps in the game, but this is basically just like a snapshot of sort of all the little details that go into kind of stacking into those footsteps. So
yeah, and we try to plan for, it's a survival crafting game where you build, and you can build a wooden hallway, you can build a chair, you can build a carpet, you can build maybe a thatch, whatever. And so we sort of try to, each one of those needs to ring true as players move through it. So we try to really make sure that we have our bases covered.
Yeah. And we'll continue.
And we shall continue. Yeah. Hopefully they don't have any
like more materials. Yeah.
Broken glass or walking on fireworks or something. That would be difficult.
We'll have to get recordings.
Well, yeah, we'll get something for you you can do the Foley for us for that. Right,
I
Billy?
will. Yeah, I'll go to Home Depot and just break some glass and start walking on it, and it'll be good.
All right. The next part of movement that we really wanted to focus on to make sure it sounded immersive was the boat. It's an ocean world. You're going to be sailing. You're going to be moving. You're going to be using it. It's going to be your partner. So we wanted this to feel alive, just like the world, that it reacts to things accordingly, that it is helping, again, drag the player out of your chair, from your desk, and pull you into this world. I wanted to feel captivating, adventure, and really responsive, right? For every turn, for every increase in speed or decrease in speed as you're sitting waiting, we wanted the boat to make sure that it was always kind of saying the right thing, so that it wasn't in your way. So we take you back in here in Wise. I have set up previously a little Soundcaster session here. Actually, maybe you know what I'll do? Let's go first to Unreal. Let's go back here. So here's our boat. You can see one of our boats. And so what we do is we set up points on the boat that we want to use as sound locators. We can either do sounds that are specifically directional, that come from a certain place, or sounds that come from a multitude of places at the same time, to give you kind of a sense of like a stereo feel, almost like in a movie theater. Front right, front left, back right. So here we have a couple different locators. At the corners, we have an audio component here for the tiller. So as you're turning this, you get sound response from that. We have one here in the center that sort of represents where the wind might come through as it's blowing through the boat. And we have another one here at the bow that represents the sort of the specific spray up in the front. Again, my dad had a sailboat and he would take me sailing all the time. I hated it. But I feel like I have a good appreciation for how, what things sound like when you're turning, what the bow sounds like, what the wake sounds like.
Yeah,
he'd be thrilled with this.
Resident boat audio expert. I love it.
As much as I hated sailing, it is now serving me.
Yeah.
So with all these sort of locators, we then design a sound to play through it. There's quite a few sounds that are going on at the same time. We've got sort of a general Foley sound. We've got the sail loop. We've got the water, sort of a water bass. We've got the sound of the tiller. We've got the specific bow water here. We've got the wind bed that creates the whole world. And then we've got specifically the boat wind bed. This is wind only for the boat.
Hmm.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna try and fire these up, and we can go for a sail. Wait, sail in our minds. Let's start it up here. All the different things. Right. So all these sounds are controlled by it's called a RTPC, which is real-time parameter control, which is tied to the speed of the boat. So right now you can see boat speed is sitting at 0. So this is what you'll hear as the boat is sort of lolling in the waves, sort of easy leaning from side to side. Some of these sounds are directional, so you'll hear them more near the back of the boat where a lot of the weight is. Some of these sounds you'll hear up front. Some of them are strictly 2D, so you'll kind of hear them all around you.
Yeah.
So let's raise the sails a little bit here, and we'll start to head off as we go. Now you can hear the water is increasing. We're maybe leaning a little bit further back and forth. We'll go full sail and kind of set everything up. Right, we can hear the jingling of certain metal bits. The sail's really flapping the waters up. And we'll sort of drop anchor, come to a quick stop. So
That's super cool.
Wise is a great tool.
Yeah.
This is,
It is,
the most popular. Yeah, it's the most popular audio engine to use with Unreal. But it's so nice to be able to link all of the sound behaviors to just a single dial. So all we could do is just sort of measure the boat speed. As you increase, we raise these things up. And one of the best parts about testing this is you set all these sounds up, put your headphones on, and raise the sail yourself, and sort of imagine like what's right about this, what's wrong about this, and tweak that. All right, let's jump off the boat here.
Yeah.
Crashed.
There's also some parts, and I think Ben might have touched on this, but there's also other RTPCs that are driving. You know, when you turn the boat, you get a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
volume. You get a little bit of differentiation in the way that you're turning the boat and the
Mm-hmm.
speed that you're turning the boat. There are some other, more than I think the boat speed is obviously the big driver of kind of how the sounds are immersive, but
Mm-hmm.
just some really cool things of small touches of like, things are going to shift if you're slightly turning to the right or slightly turning to the left. And I think those are some of the cool details that, you know, you feel, but, don't necessarily know.
Yeah. Go back here. Alrighty. Is that the bulk of our presentation? I think it may be.
I think it may be, and it's right in time for our 15-minute outro for questions and such, I think.
Yeah.
Perfectly scheduled. Amazing.
Yes. I mean, one of our key, we do presentations.
Right.
I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, I glossed over that bit. Oh, anyone got any questions? Anyone got any specific sound effect from the game that they're curious about?
Saw one in our Discord.
Oh,
If you
yeah, we
haven't
did
joined
get
the
a.
Discord, please
Oh yeah,
do.
that's right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't click on it because I would then mess up the screen.
I can click on it.
Okay, yes, thank you.
I'll read the question aloud for the class.
Yes,
Next is Cupcake, who I think is joining us here. Yes.
Yep.
Thank you for the questions.
Yes. Said it was such a joy to hear the music and environmental sounds that were recently added to the game. Thank you very much. For me, music sets the tone and enhances the emotion of the game. I totally agree. It can also define gameplay encounters and bring characters like the Golem Boss to life. Right now, the music is instrumental. Will it stay this way, or do you have any plans to add any lyrical tracks? A fine question.
Hmm.
What do you think, Bill?
I think lyrical tracks are interesting because it's like we've actually played with some ideas of vocals and chanting and sort of this, the human voice obviously has a lot of great nuance to it and a lot of great emotional character to it. And so it's like trying to implement some of that through textures and things like that. I don't know if we've necessarily visited a lyrical thing. I think there's been some great like lyrical, like Baldur's Gate 3 just had a couple of
Hmm.
great lyrical tracks and things
Down
like that.
by the river.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be
But
us. Down by
that
the
could be
ocean.
us.
Mm.
But yeah, I think because there's some there, in our game there aren't any other people. I think
Hmm.
there's sort of like this thing where it's like we're sort of in our vibe, in our space. And so it's not off the table, but it's not something that we've necessarily committed to.
I think the
That's right.
first trailer, the music you made for that might be sort of an interesting example to
Hmm.
reference there, where it is,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
less lyrical in some ways and a little more ambient.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a texture kind of thing where it's like, I think that adds a lot of nice like lift to the emotional side and it's sort of our way of like going halfway between not using voice at all and then potentially going full song. But yeah, the all the trailer music, Ben and I had the pleasure of working on, and we did add some vocals in there. It's actually Ben singing on it. So
I think I did. Yeah, you warble
yeah.
some on that one.
But there's a lot of cool texture on that, so it's definitely something worth revisiting.
All right. Nexus Cupcake continues with their question. Uh, Also, is the score composed using a computer or with live instruments slash musicians?
Mhm.
We use a blend of these two. Um,
Yep.
we have to, one, work quickly, and two, work at the quality level that this game deserves. And so oftentimes that means sketching out ideas, or doing a
Yep.
lot of sort of like fill work using some of the sample libraries that we have, meeting on computer. We have some killer sample libraries.
Yeah.
They're getting better and better. A lot of them have really unique personalities and
Mhm.
are, using certain instrumentation styles that are outrageous, but fill a really nice niche for sort of
Yep.
communicating a certain emotion. Um, so once we sort of dial in the basics, we'll often bring in an acoustic guitar, or we both bought flutes to use for this project,
Yep.
or any other like specific solo instruments that we can bring that kind of human us element to it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a great thing about the hybrid approach that Ben is talking about where yeah, you do get the working fast element, you get the sort of precise execution of vision through, obviously computers and all they can do. And then on top of it, yeah, we like to make sure we get a human element in there on top of that.
Mhm.
Because I think there's a lot of great like texture, there's a lot um there's a lot of great things that we're like, we can't necessarily put an orchestra in a room and record, on short notice. And so I think when we're trying to make these tracks, we're trying to capture that sort of epicness, but also that sort of nuance and like
Mhm.
intimate thing where you are alone in this big world, maybe with just your friends. So there's a cool balance there where it actually plays really well to us, like being able to sit and spend time with the music and actually layer in our own personal touches musically on.
Yeah. And lastly, this is a three-part question. What a question.
Yeah, this is an incredible question.
I mean, it's powerful.
Yeah.
My last question is about the sound effects for all the various actions in the game, from chopping wood to falling off a cliff. It really helps to create an immersive experience, and I'm curious, is there a Foley artist on the team that produces these sound effects in-house? You're looking at him. You're looking at him. Billy and I. As you saw with our,
That's
where's that
us.
plank of wood? If we need any, if we need any like wood breaking sounds or someone being thrown through a door, Billy always volunteers himself
That's
to
true.
do those.
Yep, that is true.
That's
Increased verticality coming in the next biome, so Billy's in
mm-hmm.
for a rough
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Yep. I've never recorded a glider before, especially when I'm in it. Uh,
You get him
Yep.
out there. The
We
GoPro on
need
his helmet.
glider noises and body impact noises.
Uh-huh.
and screaming, mostly screaming.
Shouts of fear. Interesting. Voyagers of Nera really took a turn in that second biome.
Yeah. So we're basically we're all in house. We're all uh, kind of getting it done, and honestly, we love it that way because
Hmm.
I think it just gives us the sort of agency to like get a lot of this character that we've been telling you about over the past hour or so uh, into the game and really like work alongside the rest of the team to like make sure that like we are pushing the vision together on the audio side and then also what everybody else is working on. So
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of great stuff there to be able to do.
Yeah.
I see
Um,
another question here
right.
up
There
top.
you go.
All right, do you? Would you like to read it, moderator?
Uh, sure. And take advantage of my raspy voice.
I want it. Yes.
Lunaria said, I haven't actually sank a boat, but is the sound of a boat getting hit by an urchling different from our character getting hit by an urchling as well as the skimmer?
An excellent question. Um, the boat as a character also needs its own character sounds. And so I think you can imagine that the sound of your boat running aground or the sound of an urchling exploding off the bow should have its own particular audio. So, yes, in fact, they do. We
Yep.
also use these audio points to drive some of the boat damage sounds.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know if I can pull it up to show, but yes, boat has its own damage sounds. You can run aground and hear wood splintering and hear your boat asking you to please not do that again. Um,
Yeah.
so yes, fun sound to make. Billy did a great job with that.
Thanks. Yeah. It's funny because I think we're getting to the point where things are getting destroyed now,
Hmm.
and so we're it's fun to make those kinds of sounds. Like Ben said, it's whether it's the boat or the urchling or a
Hmm.
combination of both.
Yeah. All right, back to my board.
Yeah.
Maybe
Thank you,
this
Blue
isn't
Scarf.
the place to go super deep into a lot of it, but this is also some fresh ground to break here as boats get more involved and pull in other attributes like how are they connected with the spirits in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of room to grow. Another another A plus question from Lunaria. Is there bullwog audio and how is it made?
Yeah.
I don't think we had. Did we ever make sounds for
I
those
think I
guys?
think we have some sounds for the bulldog, but I don't know if we have fully finished that feature yet.
I don't think
Yeah.
any of them are in the game right now, are they?
They're not, no.
Okay.
Um, and so I think the bulldog has been a team Easter egg for for so far. So we're but we're excited to add some sounds for him.
Yeah, I think designing a sound like that, because Blue Scarf is asking sort of about how it's made, like a quick, we'll do a combination of things. This is sort of a glimpse at our sound library here. We have a lot
Yeah.
of different sounds that can serve as base. So if we're doing something like the bullwog, we'd start with looking through sort of like the animal sounds. This is sort of like it's dog-like, but it's kind of a hippo, but it's kind of a whale. So maybe you start
Yep.
collecting sounds in that genre and start to layer those. We also
Yep.
try to add, again, as many human elements as we possibly can. So, like for instance, on the reef hobs, there's a lot of Billy and I sort of making the weirdest sounds we could make into the microphone. Um, which again, you can do a lot of character that way. You can kind of like play yourself as a reef hop to
Hmm.
get the. They're kind of silly. They're kind of scary. And it's just fun
Yeah.
to make orc noises. So
Yeah.
we'll often start with these and layer a lot of stuff on.
Yeah, we need you guys saying Bulwog like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Can be
Or
like
maybe
a
Steph.
Pokemon.
Boag.
Bowog. I don't want to do anything like Pokemon right now. Okay, it's a sensitive time.
That's a good
Yeah,
call.
that's true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't really need
Yeah.
that big old target.
Come on, Michael.
You mentioned at the top
Hmm.
talking just a little bit about some of the music. I know we're near the end of our time, but even just I guess a little bit to share there, and maybe if it's exciting to folks, we can turn that into a separate topic entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, music has been We were really excited to get the chance to do it because we put a lot of time and effort into sort of dialing up, making sure that the environment of it felt right. But a music, I think, as somebody said previously, is exactly the best way to sort of communicate some of the emotion, some of the stakes. Right? We wanted to talk about like what had happened previously in this world. That there's some sadness and there's a history here, and so music is such a great tool to be able to communicate these kind of unseen, unheard things. Well, not unheard, but can be. So what was our process? I think we gathered the colors. We knew we wanted it to feel not just beachy and sunny, but have a sense of bittersweet, and then start kind of blending those sounds together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a lot of like everything else in the game, it's about gathering the character that we wanted to shine light on, right? And
Hmm.
it's like trying to figure out like, what instruments are we interested in using? What feels good in the game? Like Ben mentioned, like what's maybe not too far on the spectrum of like bright and sunny and beachy, but like also not too dark. Since we are like, a stylized game and there's a lot of sort of fun things in the world alongside some of the mystery,
I'll tell
and so
you
I
one
think
thing
it's
that was really helpful. Sorry,
yeah.
pardon me, Bill. One thing that was
No,
helpful
you
is to
got
have we would sort of play the game as we were writing, as we were
yeah.
composing, and so
Yes,
you
super
got
helpful.
to you got to sort of color the world as you saw fit. Or what did it feel like? I think this was probably exactly a shot that we would sit and write to.
Yeah,
Was kind of imagine you can imagine yourself sitting on this rock, your legs hanging over the edge, staring out into this sort of like lonely sunset.
yeah, I think that was a huge thing where we were able to like, you know be in the game, because the thing about music is, sometimes when you write it away, you get the emotion, but maybe it's just like a little too intense for,
Hmm.
the specific use case. And I think when you're in an interactive scenario like video games, like, you're not getting perfectly curated experiences like you would in film or any kind of other linear media. And so it's like just like the environments, we had to make sure that you were, you know, able to hear the music and feel the music, alongside all of the other things that you were wanting to do as a player. So I think that was kind of an important consideration for us.
Yeah, we would just do this constantly. It's these like panning shots,
Yeah.
sort of our own in-house
Yeah.
cinematics
Yeah.
that we could sort of design to.
I would just skim around and,
Mm.
play on the keyboard and, do the
I,
thing.
I mean, as the non-audio person in this call, from working with you guys, I think it's really, your approach is just like so many layers of problem solving all happening at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the music is sort of the weapon of choice or like the way that you can tackle it. But at the
Hmm.
same time, you're also having to solve for like, how do we want people to feel right now? What fits in this world? What can we actually make in time?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and all of
Yeah.
those things kind of have to all
Marry together. Yeah.
work together.
Yeah.
And I think
Yep.
the thing that underlines all of that is I think we always try to do music and audio from the player's perspective. Play the game as much as you can. Feel what it feels like to walk on
Yeah.
the beaches. What does it feel like to skim? What does it feel like to get on the boat? What does it feel like when the sun is setting and you're, setting out, you're building your first house? And once you have those experiences, I think you can now musically and sound effects wise is just sort of tell your story. What did it feel like to you?
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think with a game that has such a strong vision, a strong environment, a really strong backbone about what it's trying to be, um,
Yeah.
hopefully there's a high chance that what we feel and what the players feel are aligned.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, I mean, just writing music to these sunsets, this art, all of the creative, all the work that the rest of the team has done. It's been absolutely a pleasure to sit there and, you know, really kind of like match the emotion that we're feeling when we watch these sunsets. So we're looking forward to doing more of it for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's all one thing at the end of the day when the player experiences it. But when you're running through like setting up the sound volumes, it's like this is just straight up level design at some point. It's just like the
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
the wall
Yeah.
between those things is paper thin.
It is.
Hmm.
Yeah. 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 Audio definitely touches like everything in the game. So it's really it's
I think we
fun
can
to
all agree
jump
it's the
around.
most important discipline that's ever existed.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably.
Only
Yeah.
to Blue Scarf's point,
Mhm.
only the most genuinely talented and the most primo of humans can do
Thank
audio
you.
design.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And again, thank you all so much for,
Where's Freddie?
all the great feedback, all of the great, you know, thoughts and ideas, and also just all the kind words. Watching, for those of you who have been streaming the game, like watching you all like react to all the work that we've been doing
Get
as a
out of here.
team has been like extremely positive and extremely exciting for us. So thank you again for all the support. And I know we're over now, Michael, but not sure how you
No,
want to
it's
close this
it's
out.
a, it's a good message. Even better without the
Yeah.
GIF, but
I know.
but
I had
no.
to get Freddie out of there. Freddie he was terrifying.
That gift keeps on giving there. Yeah.
No, but yeah, just to echo it, thank you. The feedback has been
Yeah.
huge. The
Huge.
playtests we've been doing recently are bigger by like an order of magnitude than the playtests we did before that. So it's been a
Yeah.
ton of extra feedback that we're like consuming and using to sort of hone the next chunk of work. And especially I think on this front, it's been like the first point of exposure for
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. And I know that Ben and Billy have been in a crazy amount of streams, just sort of watching, not even for the audio side, but I think we've been just hearing repeatedly how much excitement that's been creating for people. So
Yeah.
if
Definitely.
if you guys want to hear more about this, if you guys want to see more of like work in progress stuff or more like early heads up about any audio or music that's coming down the line, like let us know, and then that's like stuff we could easily put into sneak peek of the week or post about, because
Yeah.
obviously Ben and Billy freaking love doing this, uh, so
That is
super
true.
happy
Yeah.
to sort of feed it
I
both
do.
ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Any last questions from y'all before we hop off for the evening? Give it to the count of 10 in my head because I know we're on a little bit of lag. All right, it's getting pretty late for you, isn't it, Ben?
Not too bad. I've adjusted to West Coast tendencies,
Right.
so I'm good.
So the East Coast,
Yeah.
it could already be midnight right now. Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks
Thanks,
for tuning
guys.
in, joining us. We look forward to more.
Cheers, folks.
See ya.